We're delighted to be joined by the former government special advisor on immigration, good mate of mine, Claire Purcell. Good afternoon. How are you?
Yeah, good. How are you doing?
I'm slightly mad, mate. What the hell? And Peter Cardwell, talk presenter and just generally good political egg. He's here as well. We're going to continue this. Claire, can I start with you? I'm sorry, I know I get this reputation. I tried to describe it. Oh, here's an email. Please come to a detention centre so we can come and get you from the detention centre and put you on a flight that's probably not going to take off. What's going on, Claire Purcell, please?
Right. Well, I mean, in the least surprising news ever, the Home Office alerted people to the fact that when they came and signed in, as is their want to do, to get people to come and register either in a police station or an immigration centre, they were then told that they may well be detained, taken across to an immigration detention centre and then put on a flight to Rwanda, whenever that may be. So it is not very surprising that a lot of people would have said, no, thanks very much. I think I'll take my chances out somewhere else. Now, some of these people, according to the Home Office, are only temporarily lost to them, whatever that means.
Temporarily lost? What? They haven't got
Absolutely.
their email address or what? They don't know where they are?
Well, apparently they know sort of where they are, but not really, and they're not in touch with them. So to everybody else, it means that they've lost touch with them. And it is a really serious matter because these people will leave the areas that we've known them to be in. They will enter the black economy. We don't know. They could actually, in fact, end up in this sort of slave trade in the United Kingdom, in car washes, in the sex industry and things like that. So that's a really serious concern about it with some vulnerable people. But there'll be a lot of them who have made their way over to Ireland, and we've seen that discussion coming up at the weekend. But the Home Office should have thought this through in advance. If you are going to detain people, you don't need to give them that level of notice so that they can get out of the area they're in. Right,
Claire Pearson, at what, 5 on Tuesday the 30th of April. I'm going to ask you a question I've never asked you before, because you were a special government advisor on immigration to Carolyn Oakes in the Home Office 2018 to 2019. How far have you fallen, my poor lady, to be on this show with me? Here's a question for you. All those people that go, the Home Office isn't fit for purpose. Why hasn't one Home Secretary? Why hasn't one government? Why hasn't anybody gone, that is true, I am disbanding it, knocking it down and starting again? Because we are, and I'm not over-exaggerating this, we are becoming a laughingstock. Why does nobody have the political nous to go, I'm starting again? Why?
Because that would take some real courage. And I think the real problem is immigration needs to be its own department. You and I have spoken on this before. If you make it its own department, it is enormous in its own right. It is incredibly expensive. It is incredibly difficult. You need one person to have their eyes on it at all times. The Home Secretary has to be across so many different areas of security within the United Kingdom that they're not going to pay attention to what's going on with immigration detention, with what's going on at the border, passports, and everything else that immigration entails. So it needs to have somebody with some real big kahunas to say, do you know what? We need to spend the money, split the Home Office up, because in the long run, it will save us money as a country.
Peter Cardwell, just going on with what Claire's saying there, big kahunas. It amazes me politically that somebody hasn't thought there would be real political capital in this, because it has got to a point, has it not? And we were talking earlier about crime, and Claire would have an opinion on that as well. I sort of get to the point where I think criminals are laughing at the police. I genuinely... And I want to make a case, right, because people will jump up and down and will say, what are you talking about? There are, as we proved during Ukraine, there are millions of people in this country who are happy to help genuine asylum seekers, refugees from war-torn countries that we would never understand in a million years, that hardship. However, we have a system with more loopholes than a colander, did you like what I did there? And people are taking advantage, as they are, of the police. And I don't understand politically why somebody doesn't go, this really is a joke, Peter Cardwell, I've got to change it.
Jeremy, I think you're being a bit hard on the Home Office. I mean, who amongst us can honestly say they haven't misplaced 3,557 migrants at some stage? You know, this is, I mean, it's comical, it's ridiculous. It was John Reid 18 years ago, as Home Secretary under Labour, who said the Home Office was not fit for purpose. Where they split it off, they had the Ministry of Justice was set up. That was a different thing. They changed the constitutional arrangements. But Claire's absolutely right. Immigration is such a big issue in this country that I think there should be a Secretary of State and a complete department to do it. We have now a minister for legal migration, a minister for illegal migration. That doesn't seem to have made really any difference. Rishi Sunak saying those flights will take off for Rwanda, but guess what? If you tell people, do you know what, come in, have a chat, and then we might send you to Rwanda. Well, maybe they don't want to go.
But isn't that also a very interesting point, both of you, right? Obviously, you know, you look at it and you go, yeah, you're in Great Britain, you don't want to go to Rwanda, nobody knows where you are. The system hasn't managed to work out, so you've disappeared. That's the whole argument, that the people who say that every single person that comes on a boat or on a lorry is an economic migrant. They're not, you know, they're not economic, they're all refugees. People come here, we have 180,000 waiting to be processed, and they disappear into our society, and we cannot find them. And some idiot's gone, oh, let's send them an email. What do you say, Claire Pearsall, to the people who say, oh, hold on a minute, come on, most of the people that would get on a boat like that and risk their lives, and I do know there are genuine people who should be given asylum, but why would you do that unless you have a case? Do you think that the refugees are laughing at this country? Because I do. Not refugees, migrants, they are. What a slip of the tongue that was. I think they are.
Well, I think this is the problem, is that we conflate the issue of those seeking refuge and those seeking asylum, general migrants. And there will be economic migrants within all of those. There will also be criminals in that cohort of individuals, whether people like it or not. That is the fact. So why are we not processing them? Because if we know that somebody is a criminal, they're coming here for economic purposes and they're going to be inadmissible, then you can detain them in an immigration detention centre and put them back on a flight to either Rwanda, or if they want to voluntarily return home, you can do that. That will then sort out the places for those who are genuine asylum-seeking refugees, fleeing torture, fleeing civil war, fleeing persecution. You can have those legitimate people coming into the United Kingdom to be helped, which is what we do as a nation. We are very, very open-hearted in that respect. But there will be a number of them who are coming here only for economic purposes. And that feels very much like people are laughing at us and saying the United Kingdom will just let us in, no questions asked. And that shouldn't be our reputation. We are much better than that. We are here to help people, but we are not a soft touch, and that's how we should approach this going forward.
It's interesting, isn't it? Bob from Newport, to both of you, Jeff, the level of incompetence with regards to the migrant crisis shows the government are now either complicit or incompetent. Either way, they need to be held to task or removed from power. It's a joke.